understanding medical terminology. So first, we are going to take a look at all of the word parts, which is why we talked about them first. So you need to break it down into each word into its prefix, its root, and its suffix. Next, you're going to take a look at your word list, and you're going to define each of these word parts separately as its individual word piece. So let's go back to this term that we saw before. The term was hypogastric. Remember that we said that the prefix was hypo, H-Y-P-O, and you can see the dash here at the end. The dash at the end helped on a word list to see that it was in fact a prefix and it is at the beginning of a word. The root term we had discussed before as well is being gastro, G-A-S-T-R, with our combining vowel of the backslash and the O. And our suffix here found at the very end of the term started with a dash on your word list and ends in the letter IC. So we have seen this one once before, but now let's take a look at what each of these individual word parts mean. So break out the word list that was provided for this unit and make sure that you are looking through and seeing what the individual definition of each of these word parts are. The word hypo, you will see on your list, refers to being below or underneath something. The term gastro refers to the stomach, and its definition is to be of the stomach. The term IC is found on the list with a whole bunch of other short endings, and it refers to pertaining to. Pertaining to is one of the most generic suffix meanings in all of medical terminology. And this is okay because it really just helps to end a word properly and to make it sound good in English. So how do we come up with the total definition of a word? So now we have our three different word parts. We know what each of those mean individually, and we need to make a combination. Whenever we are creating a definition, we need to start our definition with the meaning of the suffix. We can then move on to the rest of the term part meanings, and while you cannot skip any of the meanings in the root terms or the prefix, they can go in whatever order makes the most sense in terms of English and pronounceability. So in this case, the meaning of the suffix is pertaining to, and you should start your definition with the words pertaining to. So here is our total word hypogastric. And you can see here that our total definition started with the words pertaining to. So pertaining to being below or under the stomach. And again, I mentioned that the prefix and the root term can go in a few different orders. In this case, it makes more sense to define the prefix first and then the root term. So a hypogastric item is anything that is found underneath the stomach. Let's see another example, and one that we've seen before. So we have taken a look at the word parts for the word cardiac. And remember, in this particular case, we didn't have a prefix for the word cardiac. So I have put an NA for non-applicable here in the category, and this really indicates to you and to me that we understand that there is no prefix and that we're not just leaving it blank or forgetting about the prefix. So I will use the designation NA to indicate that we understand that this was intentional. There is no prefix. We did have a root term with a combining vowel, also again known as the combining form of cardio. And the suffix here again was AC, which ended the term, and you will see on your word list with a dash before it. So again, for the prefix, if there is no prefix, there is no meaning for the prefix. So again, I indicated an NA just so that we are all aware that this was an intentional meaning for us and that there is no prefix. The root term is defined as heart. So if you look at the word list provided in front of you and you look at the word cardio, its definition is heart. For the suffix AC, you will see that this one, just like our last word, also means pertaining to. So let's take a look at the total definition. And if we remember to our last word that we just defined, we have to start our word with the meaning of the suffix. So you should see your total word meaning start with the words pertaining to. Okay, so here is our total word cardiac, and we see our definition here begins with the words pertaining to. The only piece we have left is the word heart. And because we don't want to just say the words pertaining to heart, that doesn't make a lot of sense in English. You can add some filler words. So the words like the, of, and, belonging to, things that don't substantially change a definition. So I just added the word the here, and it makes a little bit more sense in English. And in true fashion, let's take a look at one more example. So we did also take a look at this word a little bit earlier in the course, and the word is cardiopathy. And if you remember, again, that there was no prefix in this term. So again, I have put an NA, so it's not applicable, and that we didn't just forget the prefix. The root term is cardi with the combining vowel of O, and the suffix here was pathy, the P-A-T-H-Y portion. So let's break out your word list and take a look at what those two other word parts mean. Again, there is no prefix, so there is no meaning to the prefix. We had just seen in the previous example that the word cardio refers to the heart. And in this case of the suffix, we have a new meaning here. So our last two words had the root term and the suffix meaning pertaining to. Pathy happens to mean a disease of. Let's take a look at the total meaning of this. When we go to find and to create the definition of this word, cardiopathy, okay, again, you can see the spelling here that the O was kept because our suffix started with a consonant. We are going to then create the definition by starting with the meaning of the suffix. So your word definition should start with the words disease of. And in this case, I'm just going to add a filler word, and so disease of the heart. So very similar to the word cardiac, which meant pertaining to the heart. Okay, but cardiopathy refers particularly to disease of the heart. And so by simply switching up a suffix with the same root term, we create a whole new meaning to a word.